the power to prosper.
No let-up in the protests still spreading across the Middle East, especially in Libya, where violent protests have turned bloody. Libyan security forces reportedly opening fire and killing perhaps dozens of protesters in the capital city of Tripoli. The violence in the region now impacting a major oil producer, sending crude oil prices spiking over $5 today in electronic trading. We actually have a different contract where it's up $7 right now, $93 a barrel. Overseas Brent crude up $105 right now. That is, by the way, a 2.5-year high. Ty Young is telling his clients to get ready to pay a lot more at the pump. He's predicting $7 a gallon this summer. He is the CEO of Ty J. Young, Inc., a leading financial advisory firm in Atlanta. Ty, that is some scary stuff. How do you connect the dots? How do you come up with $7 a gallon gas this summer?
Thanks for having me, first of all. What I said was $4 this summer, maybe as high as $5 this year. Now, I did say 7, but I put it in this context. If Islamic extremists were to take over the Middle East and they were to shut off our supply out of countries like Libya, for example, or Saudi Arabia, for example, and cut off our supply, we'd have a huge demand like we have now and not a supply, and that could cause prices to spike. And if that were to happen, God forbid, we could see $7 a gallon in a relatively short period of time.
Right, but obviously, the economy fueling protests over there would be really crazy, absolutely nuts, no matter who took over those governments, for them to stop their main source of revenue.
You know, I agree with that completely, but these extremists don't seem to care about money that much. What they care about is killing the infidel, it seems to me. So if that was their plan and they took over, and I'm not saying that's happened, I hope it, God forbid that happens, but if it does, we could see prices spike dramatically.
Now, I also read where you said we might see a return to the economy of the 1970s. Explain to the audience what you mean by that.
Well, you don't have to look any further than we have gas prices. We have rising interest rates. We have rising inflation. We have gas prices going nuts, and we have a war. It's very, very similar to that time. And that time in the market was not very good. Market went up and down and up and down, but it didn't really go anywhere, kind of like our market is right now, and I anticipate that going forward. You add in the foreclosure crisis we have here in the U.S., we got some things to work through before our market takes off again.
How do we work through those cases? This worst case scenario, how do we work through it?
Well, there's a number of things we have to work through. We have to have good economic policy. We've got to stop spending all this money as a country. We need good foreign policy. We need to protect the interests of the United States of America. And when it comes to these foreclosures that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac has in inventory they haven't put on the market yet, a 3 to 5 year supply, as I'm told, we need to let those foreclosures go on the market, let the real estate market find its bottom so it can lead us out of this recession that we're in, because the real estate market has led us out of every recession we've had in the last half of a century.
So real estate has to make a meaningful move, in your opinion, before we can say the coast is clear. Now, keep in mind, almost every expert, Ty, has said we're going to be relatively flat, if we're lucky, with real estate for the next few years.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. I wish that wasn't true, but that's what history says. 3 to 5 years out, that's when I think we have a bottom. That's when it turns up. So this is one expert that says it's going to take a little while to work through this.
On your website, you talk about growing and protecting wealth. I mean, if I'm listening to you right now, all I want to do is buy a bunch of gold coins, a gun, and head for the hills. How can people do that under this scenario?
Well, there's only 3 ways to have your money completely protected against losses. As you know, FDIC insurance, Treasury bonds, third guaranteed insurance contract. The guaranteed insurance contract my clients like the best is one called an index annuity, because in that product, I don't like all annuities, but I like that one, because in that product you go up with the stock market, you lock in your gains, and when the market goes down, you don't lose anything. You don't get all the gains of the market, but you get none of the losses. So as the market goes up right now, like it has been, you participate in that, but when it goes down, you don't lose. To me, it's not how much you make, and to my clients, it's not how much you make, it is how much you get to keep.
All right. Ty Young, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for keeping us up on this. I mean, listen, worst case scenario, not so far-fetched these days. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All righty. Well, those pro-democracy protests spreading like wildfire. Why, it's not just Washington worrying. Wall Street's on pins and needles, too.